Hey everybody, welcome back inside the Stash Report from the Stash Project. This is going to be our October compilation video for the new folks that have just joined up here in the last month. First of all, welcome. Second, we do this at the beginning of every month, and these are going to be the expected kit releases for any given month, and this happens to be October of 2019. So, we have a few things on the domestic side, as always, out of round two, and then, of course, things from overseas as well. The one thing that is not firmly written down on this list, and I have a cat going crazy because there's another cat outside, is the Salvinos Jr. Hardy's Monte Carlo, the Cale Yarborough kit that was put on pre-order, via Salvinos Jr. last month. It did not come out last month in September, so I would presume that we will see it this month in October. Over at round two, there are 5 releases for this month. One at NPC, and it is a reissue of their 1974 Plymouth Roadrunner. The description of this kit, quite ironically, says evergreen muscle car. There's pretty much anything but freshness going on with this. This would be like Daisy Duke's car. This is where the Roadrunner tooling got parked as an annual kit. And so it's always stuck in a 1974. That's why this version of it keeps getting reissued over and over again, obviously. So that's coming back out. Again, I just assume on the basis of the fact that they can't release anything as Dukes of Hazzard, licensed anymore. So they're just releasing it as a regular kit, much as they've done with the 69 Chargers as well. Over at AMT, they're going to reissue their 1995 GMC Sonoma. They're adding a newly tooled surfboard and binder, which would be like the boots part of a snowboard. And it says restored tooling. So I'm not exactly sure what about this tooling has been restored per se. I know that there were basically 2 sets of kits that existed where you had a S10 and a Sonoma that sort of ran side by side, and then a sort of 4-wheel drive look, but they weren't really 4-wheel drive kits, like step-side bed Sonoma and S10 as well. Now the S10 did get turned into that S10 Extreme, and perhaps the tooling was actually modified too much, quote unquote, at that point to release it back as factory stock since then, because the Extreme has been reissued several times since it was originally put out in the 1990s. So perhaps that's the restored part of the tooling, is converting it back to factory stock, or maybe doing something with it. I don't know if you necessarily want to be able to dismiss the Extreme version of the kit entirely altogether as well. So we'll see what comes out of it. They need a reissue of the white Western Star tractor, the full the over-the-road tractor, this time with a Coca-Cola livery because Coke is it. And then they are also going to be reissuing in 1/24th scale a Peterbilt 378 over-the-road tractor and a reefer semi-trailer. I'm not exactly sure what brand reefer that's supposed to be necessarily. Both of those are Reebok's Italeri kits. So this is something new for round 2, as well as just AMT and in general, as AMT did offer several kits that were from other companies over the years, but not, I don't believe, ever Reebok's an Italeri version. Amusing tie-in, of course, is Italeri now owns all of the ESEE tooling. That was a couple of things were released, by AMT, and that when they had that ownership. So it all comes full circle, right? The price on these kits is pretty much what you expect them to be at Italeri, so there's no discount here. The only reason I can see buying these kits is if for some reason you have a local hobby shop that doesn't carry Italeri, because both of these kits are out through Italeri right now. At least my local hobby shop has both of them. And the pricing is actually about $1.50 higher MSRP than the Italeri kit is itself. So, it might wind up at Hobby Lobby and you get a 40% off coupon, and then the kits will come in at less than $50. But as they stand right now, they're probably going to wind up being like pushing $60, $62. And like I said, that's not any cheaper than the Italeri ones actually are. So I'm sure this makes sense to somebody somewhere. in terms of marketing or branding or sales, but to me, I don't see it. But you know, it wouldn't be the first time I'm completely out of my depths on in terms of what does sell versus what I think would sell. So, at any rate, that's your domestic things. Oh, one thing from Revell, I would not be totally surprised if this month we don't see a reissue of the Buick Regal as a 2-in-1, offering both the Grand National and the GNX in one box. I don't believe those two kits have ever been released in one boxing before. You know, the GN, the GN or the GNX, I can't remember off the top of my head right now without looking, was reissued not too terribly long ago, but the actual Buick Regal itself, I think the GNX is what got reissued most recently, because the Grand National, I think, is buried in the Donk Regal. I think that's the last time that was reissued that way. I could be wrong, because I have a Grand National and I have a GNX, both in original boxes, so I didn't buy the reissue, so I'm not really totally positively sure what's in it. But, you know, be that as it may, that is coming. Probably will come back out. I've seen that the press, you know, samples to be built as kit reviews are circulating around, so more than likely that kit will come out at some point this month. So going over to Japan, we have at Fujimi just 2 wheel sets, which is really weird, but it is what it is. The RS Watanabe Deep Dish 15-inch wheels and the Penna Sport 14-inch wheels. I have written on here BMAX 120 scale Brabham BT52B and the detail upset. Now, you know, if you've watched the show for the last couple weeks, that this kit and the detail upset have been out for over a month in Hong Kong and Europe. For some reason, they've never been distributed in Japan. For some reason, the Carina, which was supposed to come out last month in Japan, which is also out in Hong Kong and Europe, also hasn't been distributed in Japan yet. I don't know exactly what is going on with the whole BMAX Aoshima thing. I know there's a lot of people who still seem to think that Aoshima owns BMAX, which isn't true, or that Aoshima makes the kits for BMAX, which also isn't true, because if Aoshima made the kits, why wouldn't they sell them? There's some sort of kerfuffle, underlying kerfuffle going on there. At the All Japan Model and Hobby Show, which we're going to do a completely separate video on, because it's going to be too much stuff to try to cram into a regular Monday video. Everything is now under the Nunu name. They had no display of BMAX kits there, at least not that I saw. So there's something going on with that distribution deal. I was under my understanding through reading the tea leaves that it was coming to an end, but it seems to be coming to a very abrupt and not very social end at that as well. So that sort of hangs the Mitsubishi Starion up in space someplace. And I don't know why exactly it is that when the kits are out and available, there's no distribution of them in Japan. There's just something weird going on there. And, you know, I don't think I'll ever get a straight answer out of that, because it's just going to be one of those, you know, somebody's going to sue somebody if somebody finds out kind of deals. And, you know, it is what it is. But keep that in mind. If you're going to see our Monday video, or you've seen posts on Facebook or the Model Car forums or wherever, I have a lot of stuff coming under the Nunu name. I've seen a couple of people reference it as Nunu taking stuff from BMAX. The guy who owns BMAX also owns Nunu. He's not taking anything from anywhere. He's just shuffling his deck as far as his distribution deal is concerned to get things out through Platts. So, yeah, it'd be very interesting to see how that relationship works versus the one they've had with Aoshima, because the Audi R8 and the BMW 935 K3 both have Chinese, Hong Kong release dates now. They didn't have those last week, and they're both set for November, for whatever that means, because release dates with BMAX and Nunu is pretty fluid. But I'm very interested to see if where the holdup is. A lot of the holdup with the Audi was licensing. Some of the holdups with the Porsche is licensing. But the weird, I'm not selling this in the country that I'm in because pout is just kind of odd to me. But we'll see. Over at Hasegawa, get a straight reissue of their BMW 320i, straight reissue of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 3, a second reissue of the 1966 Cadillac, You may recall this kit already came out once as a lowrider. It's being reissued again with a Resin Girl figure added to it. Reissue of the Jaguar XJR Sprint cars for the IMSA series. And they are also doing a set of decals for that in-house. And those decals, of course, will have your Evil tobacco livery included. The reason why there's a separate set of decals for that is because if you ever followed these kits, the XJR that ran Le Mans has always had the silk cut livery in it. It doesn't mention it on the box. There's nothing about the box art, but if you get the kit, the decals are in it. The Sprint version has never had silk cut decals in the box, except for perhaps the very first release of it. So they are creating a set of decals so that you can get the decals that you need. There's a reissue of their Mazda 767B kit in the Navi Construction livery for the 1991 Japanese sports car prototype series. Reissue of the BMW 2002 Ti 1969 Monte Carlo Rally. The car that they're representing is the class winner, not the overall, but a class winning car. You have the reissue of the Datsun Fairlady Z, the U.S. spec one, as being the Mr. K 50th anniversary. This is a tribute car to the president of what is now Nissan America, but at the time was Datsun U.S. And he was very, very enamored with the Z car, and yellow was his favorite color. So it's being molded in yellow, and it has a new tool set of wheels added to it that the Fairlady Z Hasegawa kit in its general existence has never had before. And then they are going to be reissuing their Honda Vario Civic in the Gaither stereo livery for the 1994 Japanese Touring Car Championship, and that, guys, will be the last Honda kit for the 1994 JTCC season. So when this kit comes out, you'll be able to build all of the Hondas that raced in 1994. It's very cool. Reissue, same old kit, but that livery has never been done by Hasegawa before. I don't think that livery's been done by anybody before, but it's certainly never been done by Hasegawa. Over at Aoshima, you're going to get the Kawasaki Takahashi FD3S RX-7s that they just did some modifications of over the summer. The Project D in Volume 1 kits. This time, these kits are going to come pre-painted. So, pre-painted kits for guys who aren't up on their Aoshima stuff. The entire kit is pre-painted, chassis, interior, everything. You just assemble it. Of course, that means that you have, sprue attachment points to clean up and recover, so to speak. But it's more than just like the body of those Revell pre-paints for this couple of years. Then you're also going to get a reissue of their 1999 Mazda MX-5 RS. This is going to have the left-hand drive parts included in it for the first time since 2000. There's only ever been one release of this kit that I'm aware of. It was in the series called Lightweight Sports Cars that has the left-hand drive US spec parts in it. It's only a couple of things, the dashboard and windshield wipers, basically. But this will be the first time, again, in 19 years, basically, that this kit will come out in a way that if you want to build it, hour drive, so to speak, you can. Also have the right-hand drive stuff in it. Reissue of the 1991 Nissan Silvia S13 in the Diamond Jack Queen King configuration. The Diamond package was the top-of-the-level trim that included all of the trim pieces from the lower specs, the JKQ. They were done after the playing card, face card things. That's why it's the Jack Queen King. There was, I believe there's one more notch above a Diamond in a very specific package that it added like a automatic climate control, but otherwise the Diamond package has all of the pieces. I believe they're adding some new wheels to this kit to make it buildable in that fashion. Then you have a reissue of the 1998 Subaru Legacy Wagon and its Hippo Sleek tuner version. That's a kit that also has not been out probably since that kit was done up or somewhere thereabouts. I don't believe there's been a Hippo Sleek done outside of the original release back in like the early 2000s. So it's another 19-year-old kit. And some kit value being utterly destroyed by Aoshima. Rah-rah. And then you have the straight reissues for the month of October. You have the Liberty Walks, Liberty Work, Ken and Mary four-door Skyline in the 2015 spec. On the 14-inch wheel sets, you have the Mark III, Advan A3A, Equip, and Super Sharks. On the 16-inch wheel sets, you have the Watanabe's, Longchamp XR4, Volk TE37s, and P1 Racing. Those are the wheel sets out of the AE86 Truno and 11s. You get a reissue of the 2011 Subaru Sambar and a World Rally Blue boxing, the 2006 Daihatsu Copen Ultimate Edition, the 2004 Nissan R34 Skyline Z-Tune, and the 1982 Nissan Silvia Super Silhouette Race Car. So, guys, that wraps up this month. Hopefully you see some stuff in there that will get you out to the stores or putting in some orders online. I think I only have 2 orders in for October, which are the Fairlady Z and the Ferio. Everything else I already either have or don't need. I might take a peek at the Silvia once it comes out to see exactly what comes with it. You know, I have the Tamiya one, and the Aoshima S13 Silvia has always been kind of a little wonkily proportioned if you set it next to the Tamiya one. Not really obvious necessarily when you're just looking at it, because the S13 is stretched to fit over the S15 chassis, which isn't how that car works in real life. Obviously, the S15 came years later and was on a slightly longer chassis, so you know, not without its issues. I would be all over that MX-5, you know, a second-gen MX-5, but I have a lightweight sport one. So anyway, guys, that does it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys on the other side.